So this here is just my week 9 lab activity task, which is designing a lesson all about this question here and helping the students get to the solution using the key principles. So just to show you some of the key principles that I identified would of course be orthographic projection. So I just have a little sketch here that just shows our top view, elevation, and end view. It just explains the importance of having orthographic projection. The second key principle I identified is auxiliary views because this was necessary to complete the question in order to see the angle of elevation and the true lengths. My third key principle then is true heights and lengths. This was also necessary to complete the question, and that ties into auxiliary views as well. Key principle 4 was dihedral angles, so just ensuring that the students understand how to find the dihedral angle as well. And my fifth key principle is solids and contacts, and the reason I chose this one is because in order to find roof E, we have to use a conic section. So I tied this into my final principle. And then the resource I made was just a small little sketch, and the instruction on it is to just look at the small pictorial sketch below to help visualize the slopes and edges of this question. I took the first two roofs, A and B, and you can see on the left-hand side we have the elevation and plan, and then the right-hand side you can see my little sketch. And the purpose of this was that it's obviously 3D, and you can see on roof A we have this wider base that tapers in towards the top at the apex of that triangle. And then for roof B you can see that it's more of a sloping edge. So I figured just showing these two different roofs might help get the students to visualize the question better. But I'm just going to skip back up to my solution here and talk through how I would teach this to my own students. So to introduce the lesson, I would present the question to the students, and I'd give them a minute or two to just write down what sort of key principles comes to their mind first and any questions, etc. Then in terms of attacking the question, I would have a little class discussion. I try and push the students to identify the key principles that I've just discussed, as they're obviously quite important and necessary to complete the question. And I'd continue to just question the students to ensure that they actually understand what these key principles are and why they're important with the question. I then leave the students alone to have a go at completing it. But of course, I'd be answering any questions and trying to motivate the students throughout the lesson. Finally, then, I would present them with my resource if the students were really kind of struggling towards the beginning, but I'd like to give them a shot at having a good go. And then how to assess, I just look at see how the students are getting on with completing. I'd base off how many questions I'm getting, what are the questions about, do they not understand the principles, have I missed a principle, etc. So that's how I would base my lesson.